HSC in the chat was asking, yep, it was indeed all the way with the proxy hatch. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Okay, and now we've got a, is this a PvP? Yep. In the top left, the teal Protoss, we've got Telecom, white.
And in the bottom for Team Beast, we've got the white Protoss, Seiche. And Marco J is asking, do we know which games were never casted? So, all the games we're casting today are the games that some were never casted, some were casted, but ultimately they didn't make their way up onto YouTube. So we're just doing them again for the sake of the record. And after this, there should be everything on YouTube unless something weird happened we didn't realize. But hopefully this should be the last CPL cast for Season 2.
And so, PvP circuit breakers. It'll be interesting to see what we have here, whether, who goes for earlier Nexus, or who goes for Reaver versus, a lot of gates. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and one thing is for sure, Telecom is known for his two gating. Now, this is a cross-position map, so the travel distance is longer, so two gating will not be quite as good, but he definitely is a player that two gates quite frequently has it down to a science. The transition out of it, we have a lot of the, I guess some people call it Peru two gate, where you go two gates and then cannons at the natural. He's actually going for a gas, so it looks like he's going to be playing standard this time, which is, I'd say, a little bit out of character for him.
Okay. So when you said he goes two gate and then transitioned into cannons at the natural, is that anti DT?
Yeah, so you go for two gates and then you get some damage done, or just harassment with that, and then you take an earlier natural and get cannons up to defend
Okay.
the possible goon or DT bust.
Okay, got it.
It's actually a quite interesting strategy. It's really balanced because you can be aggressive with the two gate, and then you can get a faster expand and but still defend
with the cannons again, because most things, unless you have an overwhelming number of dragoons, it's hard to trade against them.
Yeah, cannons are quite good. But we just see goon first.
We do have a zealot. Yeah, we do have a zealot from Seiche versus a dragoon first from Telecom. So.
Right. In this position, cross spawns, goon first is definitely fine. Goon first is usually good. Sometimes there's some shenanigans players can do, come in with a probe and try to block the goon spawn position and then get some zealot hits on the probe. So there's some weird things you can do if you go just straight up goon. But
yeah,
likely I'd say
trap.
Most of the time goon first is pretty safe.
So we actually have the dragoon was out for Seiche, but Telecom's probe still got in and got a scout. So that's a little, rough.
And yeah, Seiche was going for Citadel as well, so going for some tech off of one gate. So this being scouted is so huge.
Yeah, we'll probably see the Robo come down here. Yep. So yeah, I guess we'll have to see. This still, even with that being scouted, it still will give some degree of map control the first couple DTs until the observers are out, but temporarily.
Right.
So we'll have to see what Seiche chooses to do with this.
I think a lot of times Seiche or players going for DTs, they can maybe expand a bit quicker, because they do have that map control and that can balance out the cost of going into DTs in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And then the decreased goon count, such like that. But since Telecom got that read, he's just gonna be going into a standard 2-gate obs into 2-gate Reaver most likely. So he's playing ultra standard here.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think this is definitely an advantage for Telecom. Because yeah, like by the time these DTs are going to be out, the observer will be out. So actually, the map control is even more temporary. Ooh, okay, let's see. We've got 4 Dragoons in the middle of the map versus 3 Dragoons and a Zealot. Both have range, so we'll have to see.
Oh, Telecom's position is really good. Gets quite a few hits off on one of Seiche's goons, and the shield's already down. Now he will have to retreat. There's a 5th goon out as well.
DT is out and just coming across the bridge, so this should force the Dragoons back. Okay. Well, they already pulled back.
Telecom's Robo is actually silent for a bit. The Observer is delayed, although that DT will likely get, nothing done.
Yeah. And the Nexus is up. Seiche actually made a cannon first, I guess because he didn't get the later scouting information. So first DT goes down. So Seiche will probably send this DT maybe the 3rd base location.
Yeah, to see
or
if
at least up the ramp, yeah.
See if he can get something done with that.
Ooh, this other DT's gonna run into the army in the middle. Ooh, but the observer, you know, obviously it's slower than the army. Okay, gets that DT. Okay, this cannon.
Unfortunately for Seiche,
ooh, we do have the DT coming in from the top, and there's only 1 Dragoon here.
Ooh, there is an observer there though, and some more goons coming out, so the DT should be shut down. Although Telecom is actually not paying attention. There we go. So the DT is going to get about 4 or 5 probe kills, maybe even 6. Okay, it gets 5, but still, not a decent pickoff for Seiche.
Yeah. Yeah, that's decent. But that was the 3rd DT.
Right. And his natural was delayed, so you know, as far as damage done with the DTs, definitely not the best for Seiche. And Telecom's coming in here is only 1 cannon up. I think he might be able to pull this off. Telecom's micro is quite good, and if he takes this slowly, he should be able to bust.
Ooh, these Dragoons are gonna have such a hard time. They need to all get down the ramp because it's gonna be so hard to engage. If they have to walk down the ramp to attack. Although I guess if you have one of them on the ramp, it's okay because you get that high ground to low ground.
Interestingly, Telecom has a ton of goons just stuck at home, pulled to defend the DT, and that is really saving Seiche right here. If those were all at the natural, this would be so bustable. And Seiche also, he went for the faster Citadel, so he's getting a storm up as well, but it's not going to finish in time. Telecom snipes the cannon.
Oh, a couple Dragoons coming out too far.
Seiche's control of the goons is not quite what it needs to be here to defend, and Telecom has three gate pumping goons, so this is pretty scary.
So many Dragoons coming across. Storm is done, so that could save him here. Maybe a couple. It gives you possibilities.
I mean,
because Dragoon versus Dragoon is largely it. Yes, it has obviously micro aspects, but majority of the time, if you have this many more Dragoons, you're gonna win.
Okay, how good are the storms gonna be? Okay, Telecom eats one that's pretty good. Maybe loses a Dragoon because of it, but he's just overwhelming the numbers of Seiche, and it's getting pretty not looking too good for Seiche.
You should see an Archon morph, maybe.
Yeah, actually, it's a clutch Archon morph right before those were going to get sniped. But now Telecom is microing back his goons, and he's pulling back, but he probably could bust in here.
Yeah. And a lot of Zealots coming out. But Zealot Legs is only halfway done. Zealot Legs is actually ahead for Telecom. Even though, obviously, Seiche's Citadel was so much quicker. But because he went immediately for that Templar.
Right.
So no another DT coming out.
Trying to make something work with the DTs. I would like to see him go for a storm drop here in a PvP. That can be super hard to defend, even if you have a relatively fast pull. Storms are just, they happen so fast, and I think that could be definitely a way that Seiche could get back into this. DTs at this point aren't going to do too much. There's too many observers and cannons out on the map to really get anything done, and I think it's at this point it's a little bit of a waste for Seiche to keep producing them. And Telecom with a third, he's just going to get more ahead here in this game.
I think there are only 2 observers out.
Right. But I mean the DTs.
But I still think, yeah, all you have to do is send over the army or the cannon at this third base. But it is nice that it forces him to pull his whole army up. You know where his army is. And he got a couple probe kills. So I think we may see Seiche try to go for this. He has this higher ground position, but the army is so much bigger for Telecom right here.
Right.
Zealots are heading out.
Yeah, so Telecom's, Zealots are actually not going to be with the main engagement, and those 2 cannons are going to go down for Telecom. So here's the big fight. Seiche is attacking into a concave.
Yeah, but this purely Dragoon army, the Zealots get right on top of it. So not having his Zealots here is actually... Ooh, but the whole army isn't engaging together. He's going to go for the Nexus.
So he's going to get the third Nexus, and that's a pretty big deal. Telecom is trying to make something happen with a counterattack force of Zealots, but there's enough Zealots here.
Zealots blocking the ramp, which is nice. Nice play.
It was actually a weird call. Maybe he thought it was pretty undefended, but going to be evening up the supply a bit, and now he's supply blocked as well. So a good comeback move from Seiche.
But the third Nexus looks like it's going to be denied by this big Zealot group.
Yeah, he's going to force the cancel, so that is a good thing for Telecom. They're going to still be on equal economic footing.
Okay, actually that probe that was just sent up to make the third base was picked off again.
And Seiche starting his own. So he's really trying hard to claw his way back into this game.
It looks like we have a storm drop from Telecom. It's unsighted right now, but it's right next to the third base of Seiche.
There is a cannon in the main of Seiche, but there's only one, so he can still do a kamikaze storm drop if he wants to. There's a DT hacking away at some pylons at the third, gonna kind of force the army up, so maybe a good diversion of attention for Seiche. The storm drop is coming in here, the cannon getting some good hits on the shuttle, but a good storm drop actually storms the shuttle, but still a massive damage done. About 15 kills there on the storm drop. Marco asking, are these B-teamers? No, these are A-teamers. Telecom especially on the upper range of A-teamers for sure. And Seiche pretty good as well. PvP, he's very solid PvPer.
Yeah, because we still have even supply here, even after all the early game shenanigans kind of put him behind. We do have the fourth base being taken. The third base right now is not mining for either guy, but the fourth base has been taken and heavily defended with cannons by Telecom.
Right, so, if Telecom, it's kind of hard to count probes here, but it looks like he is ahead, and so he has a better economy for sure, and army supply is pretty close. And in PvP, there is a quite heavy defender's advantage if you get a good ground. So it's all going to come down to Telecom's defense of this mineral-only third.
Which is where his whole army is and defending.
Yeah, he needs to get on top of this little plateau here to be able to land storms on the army coming in. But as it is, it looks like he's giving Seiche the high ground, which is not optimal. Although defenders advance, yeah, like I said, you're right next to your gateways, so the reinforcements come in, and you got to be ahead a decent amount in supply to really make an attack work. Here he goes. There's a lot of zealots though on top of the. Oh, good
Oh,
storms.
that storm on those dragoons is massive. So many Templar here. Ooh, the Templar getting stormed, all taken out by Seiche with a single storm.
Yeah, this is actually insane. Seiche did this attack so well. Telecom is really goon heavy, and just charging in, gonna snipe his third.
Yeah, we do have reinforcements coming out, but there are a lot of Templar.
He needs to morph those into Archons.
That one storm was so good. It took out 3 Templar that had storms.
Yeah, the Templars, okay, actually getting a good storm on the
Zealot
goons.
Reinforcements from the bottom from Seiche, though.
Yeah, and a DT hacking away at some troops for Telecom. There's no observer here, so that will quite likely push this attack back.
But we do have to say, just having these bases up and not destroyed is a win for Telecom.
Right.
Like, the attack was very good, and it traded well, but the economic advantage, not just the probe advantage, is continually going to Telecom. Because he has more probes, he has an extra base that still hasn't been scouted. So.
Right. Yeah, so Telecom's in a pretty good position, even though that attack, Seiche did a really good job in that attack, but he was cutting probes at different points to get that army supply, and Telecom reacted pretty calmly, just waited, pulled the probes, and reacted perfectly in that situation. Which it just goes to show, when Telecom, he's played a ton of games, a ton of PvPs. It just kind of shows that you're pretty cool under pressure in these scenarios. At least Telecom is, and a lot of kind of the mark of really good players is when they're not fazed by things.
That 4th base, Seiche had an observer there, saw the DT, sent the probe up, made the Nexus, just killed the next probe, and the DTs killed the Nexus before the Zealots could reach them.
Oh man, that's brutal.
So, yeah, and there's DT at the 6 o'clock as well. So Telecom is just making sure that no 4th base is being taken.
His army is quite DT heavy, which is okay. You can poke around the map and be annoying.
Force those observers, and you can pick off observers, and then your army becomes not engageable.
And the 4th base is really starting to show for Telecom. As far as gate count, these players are pretty close. Actually, Seiche has some more gates, but he's not producing out of them regularly at all. Did that 4th get sniped again?
No, the probe.
Oh, okay.
He actually sent another probe up there, though. I think Seiche might just have to do something crazy like a double expand to get ahead, because at the moment we're just gonna continually see the economic advantage unless we have like an incredible engage for Seiche.
Right, now Seiche is getting onto this plateau here, which is a really good position to engage in. Although this time Telecom has enough Zealots and Templars.
Yeah, he's pre-spreading like his Zealots, expecting to engage. Yeah, good from Seiche that he sort of sensed that wasn't where he wanted to engage. He hasn't checked this 4th base location, I think.
The 4th is heavily cannoned though, so that will be tough to engage in.
And this gate and the Zealots sort of block it off, make it so hard to.
This ramp is just hard to move into. It's kind of glitchy.
Could see something if he has some High Templar, we could see something like a Storm drop on the natural or something that could really do damage. Because if you see there's like a dark zone and then you can drop behind the minerals, would be
Right.
like something you could do. Um,
Looks like some DTs are still harassing this
because
fourth
we do
of
have Speed
Seiche.
Shuttle out. Oh, DT's on the fourth base.
Took out a couple cannons and
Oh, no, he's attacking his own Nexus.
oh no, this Nexus is gonna go down again. Oh man, that's
Oh
brutal for
gosh.
Seiche. That's putting him so far behind economically.
Oh gosh. Yeah, the first volley was his Zealots attacking his Nexus.
Yeah, that's hard to click. Right, so close to the Nexus is hard.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, the DTs are just hard to. And now he sends the. Oh, that was the Speed Shuttle up at 12 o'clock. I don't know what was in it, but it just got killed by 4 cannons at the 5th base. So that's brutal.
Telecom is
Oh,
about 40 supply ahead of Seiche in army. So pretty much this is Telecom's game to lose here.
uh-huh. Yeah, because look at the natural for Seiche. We
Got
just
so many
have him finish.
probes.
Yeah, we just have him mine out, and he doesn't have another base other than the mineral-only third to send them to. Alright, let's see. We've got 2 DTs heading for this 4th base again. And a Zealot and a DT. This could be... This will be the most denied 4th base in the history of StarCraft.
Yeah, I mean, I think Seiche should just, it's a mistake he's making. He needs to camp out on this area with his army, allow the,
Yeah, leave units here.
right, at least in time, enough time to get some cannons up. Just allowing us to be denied so much is really game ending, frankly. They were in a much closer spot, but then once Telecom got away with the fourth so early, that really just pretty much allowed him to get ahead.
Yeah, and we've just got, like, all Seiche has to do... I mean, Telecom's got a massive bank. He can just continually macro. He's
Upgrades
got
as well.
5 bases. Like, look at his 12 o'clock base. How is that going to be engaged?
Right. Yeah, that's so hard to, because right on the ramps and you're getting shot with cannons immediately. Also, the upgrades, Telecom is 3-2, almost 3-3. Seiche is 2-0. Actually 3-0.
Whoa, look at Seiche's High Templar clump above.
Okay, he's getting in for some massive storms and some great storms on the goons, but otherwise the engagement is going really well for Telecom, getting Archons on top of Seiche's goons, and I think this will be just a sheer.
Yeah.
With the plus armor, it's really evident that the Archon Zealot force lasts so much longer, and a GG well-fought game from Seiche.
Yeah, that was a really interesting PvP. But yeah, we just you just see the economic implication of having bases up earlier and denying bases. Like, you're just able to, he's able to throw out a couple DTs every once in a while because he's so economically ahead that it 100% is worth it to, take out the pro building the base or deny the base. Even just killing those cannons, that's 450 minerals. That's another Nexus whenever he's killing those 3 cannons at that base. So
Definitely. Yeah, it's just, PvPs in those type of games are small wars of attrition, and Telecom definitely racked up a lead. But, yeah, got to give props to Seiche. Played that quite well. I think Telecom is definitely up there in his PvP abilities in the foreign scene, so...
oh yeah, definitely.
Alrighty, so we're going into Talcross here, game number 2 of Seiche versus Telecom. Again, this is from week 4. These were games from Team Beast and No1CareThat. Team Beast, of course, was the champions.
And in the middle left position are blue Protoss from Team Beast. We've got Seiche. And we've got Telecom saying you are good.
Yeah,
chat.
Telecom recognizing that, played that game pretty close. Definitely made some good decisions. Yep, and got Telecom as the yellow Protoss in the upper right corner.
Hmm.
I got lucky, actually. Yeah, that was really there was a minute there that Seiche was pushing in, and when he after the double expo got up, that once because Telecom was super goon heavy, and the army
Hmm.
composition rolled in, and it was a bad angle for Telecom. But I
Yeah, and that was when we had those really nice storms come in from
right,
Seiche.
so that was
Um,
definitely was dicey.
oh yeah, yeah. Other than like the fourth base was a bit quicker um for Telecom. But Seiche was able to keep that mineral only from mining for a really long time. He killed it and forced it to be remade. Like he did a really good job with that. But as soon as he couldn't just get up that fourth base, it just becomes so hard to economically compete.
Right, definitely, and we will see if we get another gate or we. Okay, there we go. So we do have a 2 gate up for Telecom, and we'll see how well Seiche does with Telecom's bread and butter. Seiche most likely will go Zealot first. It's just pretty standard on Tau, going Goon, you know, going strictly Goon, which he went Zealot first last game.
Yeah, yeah, he went out first on circuit breakers. Um, yeah, he scattered the 2 gate. He's seen it. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how we have. Telecom has a probe sitting at the bottom. Okay, I guess it was just a mis-sent scouting probe. Um, all right. Yeah, two zealots coming at Telecom. First zealot just about to come out for Seiche, and cybernetic scores up.
And a Dragoon in production for Seiche. So with Telecom, this 2 gate, his real goal here is to just get a couple probe kills, and then he will be ahead economically and can transition from that into maybe go for that cannons or some tech, something else like that. Um, and if Seiche's goal is just to prevent any probe kills from happening, and that is quite tough since Telecom's Zealot micro is quite good.
Hmm. Yeah, and we've just got continual zealots coming out. It will be up to six, or yeah, 6 zealots soon. Ooh, probe building a forward pylon.
Okay, the Goon is here, already taking some shots from the Zealot.
Yeah, we do have to say the zealot, it kills the dragoon quicker than the dragoon kills it in a 1v1 fight when the zealot can reach it. So without, you have to micro the dragoon to make it worth it.
Okay, and then Seiche just lost that Zealot. That's a pretty big deal. He's gonna lose a Dragoon too. Oh no. Okay, just barely pulls it back in enough time.
Yeah, because one dragoon is actually not very good against. Ooh, one zealot. I mean, one dragoon goes down. Yeah, like look how hard it is to micro one dragoon against these zealots. It takes so long to kill.
and now the
And
Zealots
now,
can sneak into the probe line.
yeah, now they can sneak into that probe line. And now you have to be microing on 2 fronts. You have, ooh, oh, that one dragoon.
Yeah, I mean 2 gate is just straight up a really good strat. Seiche didn't micro quite well enough, and he's got a couple goons out here, but some of them are quite low. 2 of them are really low health, only a couple swipes away. So this is pretty much these are the only goons he has left. Okay, loses one, and just continual production of zealots from Telecom swarming in. Oh,
And
loses
yeah,
another one.
we even have a forward gateway producing more zealots.
Got so many probes going down. The supply is 30 to 20 for Telecom.
Yeah, Yeah,
And
we've only got like 8 probes.
yeah, and fighting with the stacked probes too means there's a lot of delayed mining time. So just economy for Seiche is really hurting. These zealots picking off more and more probes. Although with the number of goons now, we will likely see Seiche stabilize.
Yeah, but it's still worth it. Every probe that he's picking off for these zealots is worth it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And now we have the forge up from Telecom, and he's getting his cannons down at his
Ooh,
natural.
and we've got 1 Dragoon trapped. Just picking off that Dragoon is so annoying.
Okay. For a second there, he might have been able to get another pick off. Just getting more and more probes. It's insane how many probes he's getting.
Yeah.
He has like 6 probes here.
Uh-huh. Yeah, total. Just his capability for building anything. Eventually, we're just gonna have Dragoons coming out of... Well, yeah, no, he's gonna go for those cannons and go for the expansion. Not even. Yeah, we've got 3 probes.
This is pretty
So
much game from Seiche. Yeah, that's the one thing on 2 gates really good on Talcross, just because there's such a short rush distance that, 2 gates really good.
Oh, he gets another probe. Yeah, the Nexus is already coming up, and you can just look at how slowly the mineral count goes up for Seiche. That sort of tells you all you need to know.
I mean,
Because the one thing you would think if if there aren't cannons up, then you'd think, okay, I have the advantage in tech, so I can go across with my dragoons and do something. But these cannons, I mean, we've got 3, 4, 5 cannons coming up, 3 already up, so the dragoons can't do anything, and he can't really produce more dragoons.
yeah, this is pretty much all he has to work with, and charging in here into that many cannons is
And we
pretty
do have
suicidal.
a zealot actually slipping in. A zealot actually has slipped in.
Oh, GG.
Yeah, so that was what you had mentioned, that two gate zealot pressure into the cannons at the front and the faster expansion, and it sort of like negates the weakness of that opening where you're so behind in tech that you're thinking, okay, once I get dragoon range, or once I get a bunch of dragoons and I get like a certain number of dragoons, I can just push across and he's not gonna, I can micro against the zealots, I can kill probes, but the cannons just allow you to get that base up, and then the person who lost so many probes is so far behind.
Right. And, yeah, I definitely am thinking of incorporating that style more into my own play. I really haven't messed around with 2 gate too much, but usually it just kind of ends to that situation where they can dive in with goons, even if you do get economic damage. But definitely is a style where you got to be confident in your zealot micro, which I am not. So I think it's something to definitely consider when you're working to get better on PvP. All right, so that is all for week number 4. Moving into